Can't stop, won't stop. As the title says, I just keep going. I can't help myself. Next and newest thing, this is the Perry Miniatures setup on the Callistra terrain as we slowly segue back into that whole foray. But I've been filling with the next thing. Next thing has been inspired by, actually let me back up even further, inspired by an inspiration. The initial inspiration is the command and control system in Panzer Command, particularly the activation shit pull system in here. I won't go into depth in this video about what that entails. If you're curious, I encourage you to do so. But this is the foundation of what I'm working on here. Started with this, became what is now better known as, and I used to have 3 of these games but sold them for the Great Scooter Fund. Grand Tactical Series, these are a PDF that I printed off at work. So the Grand Tactical Series, as I just said, a maturation, if you will, of the Panzer Command system. So how have I worked that into this? Well, I've done so thusly. I've adhered for the most part to the way it's done in Grand Tactical. So we've got our cup here, and let me put these back and start over here. I won't do an example. Again, this is just a quick how you do. We'll go into more in-depth later date. So what we will have is, and this is for each side, right? We'll have our, what I'm calling an army chit, or if you're looking at the Grand Tactical Series, this would be like your divisional chit. Your left sector, your left section, your center section, your right section, and your direct command shit for the D, and your E for a French specific event card. Now how do each of these work? So beginning of the game, you'll put in your army chit, which is what I have represented here, is just a gold, blue and gold, and then for the British, red and gold. Those go in the cup. Then you have your event shits, again, one for the French, one for the British. When you pull an event shit, you draw one card from the tactician deck. If it's applicable and you can use it, use it. If not, it goes at the bottom of the deck at the end of the turn. And then we put in our direct command shit for each side. Direct command shit. And that's how you do for your chits. That is the at game start, what goes in the cup. You need command action points. Those are equal to the, if you look at the scenario that we have here, which is the Rolica French First Position, 17th of August 1808. You're going to look at the number of command cards, and that's going to equal your command action points. So for the British, it's 6, and for the French, it is 5. And then you have your dispatch points. Just like Grand Tactical Series, dispatch points are equal to the number of onboard leaders. So for the French, it would be 2. For the British, it would be 3. As mentioned, the chits that are in the cup, shake it up, and for the first turn you pull. If you pull, again, an event shit, you simply draw a card from the tactician deck, place it next to the side that it corresponds to. If you pull your army shit for either side, think of that as a movement kind of maneuver shit. You can do all your moves However, you cannot move adjacent to an enemy unit, and no attacks are allowed. And that is strictly if you adhere to just the movement shit. Now, your command points come in such that you could do a second action. It would cost you 1 command point. So if we pull French army shit and we're moving folks and we notice that there are some enemy units that are within range, we could then fire with said unit by spending a command action point. The couple caveats to command action points are you do have to, the second action that you do has to occur directly, immediately after the first action for the unit that is benefiting from that. And then that action has to be different from the first action. So not a problem here, as your army chits allow, and this is everybody in all 3 sectors can move, and then you'll spend command points, if you so desire, for second actions to fire, if you like. The additional thing that happens with this is you will purchase, when these are pulled, these army chits, you will purchase section chits, which are your left, center, and right. So if the French want to purchase a section chit and put it in the cup this turn, that'll cost 2 action points. That'll cost the entirety of their, dispatch points. That will cost the entirety of their available dispatch points for this turn, because then we get 2. However, if they want to spend 1 dispatch point on a section chit for the next turn, again, that would only cost 1 point. So here's the rub. We could do 1 section, either left, center, or right, put it in the cup for this turn to be pulled, would cost 2 dispatch points. Or we could choose 2 sections, left and center, center and right, however you like, for the following turn. It's more of a discount if you do it that way. And then we would get 2 sections, but we wouldn't get those until the next turn. Similar with the British, however, they, as you remember, have 3 dispatch points because they have 3 onboard leaders. The other thing we have is our direct command shits. If one of these are pulled, anybody that is within command, and that is a 2-hex range to any leader in any section, can conduct an action. Now these actions will be paid for by your command action points. Once you run out of command action points for a turn, that's it. There's no more second actions, no more direct actions. And again, to repeat, you need to be in command to use these direct actions. As time goes on and you have section chits in here, once a section chit is pulled, say the left section is pulled, everybody in that section can activate 1 and do 1 move, 1 action. If you have command action points available, you can pay for a second action, but again, it has to be different from the first action. That's how we're working it. I also have multiple hits. I haven't decided if it's 6s during combat, if 6s or simply multiple hits cause units become shaken. I haven't nailed that down yet, which way I want it to be, but that's how shaken would work. And then the shaken unit becomes shaken again, becomes routed. Also 5s, when those are rolled in here for the combat system, when we're using the commands and color system for that, 5s become kind of like morale checks, and you're not, if you pass it, you can ignore those 5s. If you don't, you'll simply retreat however many 5s were rolled. And those 5s also count as a positive die roll modifier. The generic number needed to pass as far as like a rally or a morale check, if you will, for these 5s would be 7 or less. All of this we'll go into in more in depth in a later video. But that's how we're working it, and I had to tweak a few things, obviously, and I almost gave up on this and then came back to it and loosened a few screws, and it seems to be working. So that is the next thing. Pretty cool. a lot of the stuff from the Grand Tactical Series rules are now embedded in this. I had tried Opportunity Fire, but that was screwing everything up. So we had to chuck the Opportunity Fire from the Grand Tactical Series. And yeah, so that's where we are. Let me know what you think. Again, we'll go more into depth at a later date. Getting ready to go see Killers of the Flower Moon. Should talk to you before Halloween. And I also have that, and I haven't locked down a date yet, but I also have the 10-year anniversary of this channel live video stream feed that we'll do, so stay tuned for that. Alright guys, have a good Sunday. We'll talk later.